Okay, doke. So in this video, we're going to be adding some more guns, specifically two new types of guns. So a shotgun and a sniper rifle. So let's get started with the shotgun, since that's most likely easier. Go to the pack, go to models, go to weapon models, go to shotgun source, and drag in your shotgun. Nice. Let's go disable our room manager. Drag our player into the scene so we can preview it. And let's just rename this shotgun. And let's just align this. -0.1. 0.1, 0.05, 0.01. Yeah, it looks good. 0.06 minus 0.01, 0.18 seems to be a good position. Let's also set up the position of our sniper while we're at it, since we might as well. Boom, boom, boom. And later on, I'll show you how to set up other guns as well. Make sure to disable the camera on the sniper. And let's just position this, so maybe minus point. Minus 0.25, 0.1 for the Z, 0.04 for the Y. And let's just change the materials. So go to the sniper, materials, extract materials, boom. Let's make the arms a bit less shiny. Let's set their normal value to 2. Let's make the rifle a bit less shiny too. Set its normal value to 3. Let's make this more metallic because that's the scope. Set its normal value to 3. Nice. Check the arms. I'll disable the sun as well here. Right. Make sure the sun and camera are disabled, just so it doesn't cause issues. Get the arms and the rifle. Select update when off screen. Nice. Let's set up the shotgun as well. Go to the arm. Let's extract the materials. Extract it here. So you got the, what is this? The boomstick. Yeah, make it more metallic. Make the normal map have an intensity of 2. Make the arms less shiny. Let's give this an intensity of 3. And here, let's give the arms a normal intensity of 3 as well. These look awesome. The graphics look super cool. Let's make this more. What am I doing? Yeah, let's make the boomstick a bit less smooth and more metallic. Awesome. There we go. What's this empty sphere? Nice. So with the shotgun, we have, let's just apply this first of all. So go to overrides, apply all. Then we can delete the player. Go to our player, open it up. Keep changes. And let's set up our shotgun like we set up our AK. So let's just copy this weapon script, use it as a reference. Let's add an animation component. Let's drag in all of our shotgun's animations. So if you go to your animated shotgun, get all these animations, Control D to duplicate. Select all of these animations, 3 dots, debug, make sure it's marked as legacy. Then 3 dots, go back to normal, lock this, drag in all of these animations into your animations list. Cool. So for the shotgun, change the animation to shotgun animation. The fire rate, let's make it 1. Damage for shot, let's leave it as is. The distance, let's make it 50. The mag size, let's see. Let's check these fire animations and the reload to see what the mag size should be. So fire animation, nice. Reload. So the reload seems to be split into 3 animations. I think it's done that way so you can have custom reload animations depending on the amount of shots you fired. We won't do that, we'll just have one simple reload animation. So we'll make a new animation called armature reload, and we want first to have the armature prior to reload, so select these and paste them in armature reload. Then after that we want reload 1, so armature reload, paste the reload 1 keyframes, so we have armature prior to reload, all the clips, armature reload 1, all the keyframes, paste it again, so we do the reload 1 animation twice, and then we want to copy the keyframes for armature reload last one. So paste that into our reload animation. So we have start the reload animation, we put in 2 new bullets, and then we finish the reload animation. Cool. Make sure that's in here. Drag that in as our reload animation. For our shoot animation, we'll drag in armature fire from here. And we need a muzzle flash instantiation point, so drag one into the shotgun and just make sure that it's aligned nicely. Boom, boom. And make sure you're using this point as the spawn point. Let's set the mag size and current ammo in mag to 2, and we'll set the shoot sound index to 1. Make sure only the shotgun is enabled. We'll add a weapon switching later on. Now, for shotguns, the way it usually works in games is instead of shooting 1 bullet, right, we shoot like 5 or 10 different bullets in slightly different directions out of the tip of the gun. So for that, we need to implement a pellet system and bullet spread system. So add space, public, float, spread. Let's set this equal to 0.05 by default. And we'll add a public float pellets count. And this will be 1. This should be an integer, sorry. So pellets count should be an int. Nice. Let's implement the spread first. So we will make a vector 3 called forward direction equal to camera transform dot forward. Then we'll make a vector 3 called random spread, which we will apply to the forward direction, and this will be equal to camera transform dot right times Unity engine dot random dot range negative between negative spread and positive spread plus camera transform dot up times Unity engine dot random dot range between negative spread and positive spread. Nice. And now we want to merge these. So we're choosing a random offset either to the left or right, and a random offset either up or down for the spread. And this spread will be in the shape of a square. Then we'll make a new vector 3 called final direction, which will be equal to forward direction plus random spread. And then we'll call final direction dot normalize. And we want the array to be in the direction of final direction. So just add some comments. Create spread. Nice. Now we want to run all of these code multiple times for each pellet. So we want to create a new direction, create a new hit scan ray, and apply damage on that ray for each pellet. So to do that, we'll do for I equals 0 and I is less than pellets count. And we will copy all of this, copy it, and paste it inside of this for loop. So if we have 5 pellets, we'll call this 5 times. If we have 1 pellet, which is most guns, we'll call this once. Nice. For the shotgun, let's try out a spread of 0.25 for now. And let's say 8 pellets, and the damage per pellet, let's make it 15. Let's enable our room manager and give this a test. Maybe the spread is too much. Let's also add the reload sound effects. So there we go, shotgun. So let's decrease the spread to 0.1. On the AK, let's also decrease the spread to maybe 0.2. That could be quite nice. Let's add an audio source and a reload sound manager. So add an audio source and a reload sound manager. And let's drag in the audio source into here. And for the mag in sound, we'll add a sound for inserting a shell. Yep, so we'll just add the mag sound. And in our reload animation, every time we put in a new bullet, we'll play our mag sound. Play mag in sound. Copy that. And we'll make another one here. Play mag in sound. Super cool. That's our shotgun. Now let's make our sniper. And then after that, we'll implement weapon switching. So here's our sniper, sorry. We'll name this sniper. Let's once again copy the weapon script from our AK. And let's set the fire rate to 1. Let's set the mag size to, I don't know, 8. 8 should do. Let's copy a muzzle flash, instantiate, drag it in here. And let's just align it with our gun. So there we go. Now it's aligned with the tip. Distance, let's make it 1000. Damage per shot, let's make it 1 shot. Spread, let's make that 0. Shoot sound index, our sniper shot is index 3. Very cool. Let's drag our muzzle flash instantiation point for the sniper in there. And let's add an animation component. Drag that into here. So sniper animation, dragged into the script. And let's get all of our sniper animations. So go to your silenced sniper source. Get all these. Control D. Go to debug mode. Mark them as legacy. go to normal mode, freeze this. Let's drag all of these into here. And let's look at these animations. So we go to shoot no sight animation. We have a reload full animation. Cool. So we'll use the reload full here, and we'll use the shoot no sight animation, like so. Let's decrease the fire rate to 0.5, and let's create the reload sounds. So we'll do reload sound manager. We'll create an audio source, drag that in here. Now for our reload, we have putting a clip in, taking it out, clip in, and then pulling the slide on the side. So cool. We'll use the heavy machine gun sounds for the mag in and mag out, and we will use the slide sound for the slide sound. Let's go to reload full. And just watch this. So we're taking out the mag here. Let's play the mag out sound. And then we're putting it in right here. So here we'll play the mag in sound. And here we're doing the slide. So we'll play the slide sound. Very nice. Let's just test this, and then we'll work on the scope. Let's add the slide sound to the fire as well. So fire no sound, no sight. And we'll play the slide sound here. Nice. That's super cool. Cool. So let's make the scoping. Let's also quickly fix the health text since it's not fitting. So we can just decrease the font size of both of these to something like 30. Nice. All right, now on to making the scope. So we'll make a overlay scope similar to Valorant's or CSGO. And lucky for you, I've already made the sprites for you. Yeah, so on our camera, let's create a new component called Scope Manager. And let's create a new UI canvas called Scope Canvas. Change it to scale with screen size, so 1920 by 1080. Right click, create a UI panel. I'll call this Scope Panel. Make sure the regular canvas, make its sort order 1, so it renders above the scope. And make the scope canvas sort order -1. Nice. Let's change the scope panel sprite to scope and choose a scope which you like. So I have 3 options here. You have a scope with just lines, a scope with lines and a dot, and a scope with just a dot. I'll do the lines and a dot, so that's scope 2. Change the transparency to 1. And as you can see, it's scaled weirdly, so we'll do an aspect ratio fitter. Change the aspect mode to envelope parent. and change the aspect ratio to 1. So that's our scope. We'll also need to zoom in. So go to your first-person camera, go to your scope manager, and we'll add a public game object, scope overlay. We'll add a public, actually that should, what have I done? Public float scope FOV, and a public private float default FOV. On start, and we'll have a private camera cam. Make sure that this scope manager is attached to your FP camera game object. So we'll do cam equals get components camera, and we'll set default FOV equals to cam dot field of view, and then we'll make a public void called set scope state, and bool is scoped. All right, so scope will set cam dot field of view equals is scoped. If we are scoped, we'll set it to the scope FOV, and if we're not scoped, we'll set it to the default FOV. We'll also set the scope overlay dot set active is scoped. Now we need to access this inside of our weapon, so we'll add a new header called scoping settings, and we'll add a public scope manager, and we'll add a public, what else do we need? Oh, public bool is scoped weapon, which by default will be false, since most weapons are not scoped weapons. Yeah, so on start, we'll do scope manager dot set scope state false, since we don't want to be scoped by default. And in update, we'll do scope manager dot set scope state, and we want to check for two things to be able to set it to true, otherwise we'll set it to false. The first thing we'll check is if it is a scoped weapon. So if it's not a scoped weapon, this will instantly be false. And the second thing we want to check is if we have the aim key down. So the aim key, I believe, is fire 3. So we'll do input dot get button. Make sure it's get button, which is true for as long as we're holding it. And we'll get button fire. Maybe it's fire 2. We'll test. So let's set the scope FOV, let's say to 15. So the smaller this is, the more zoomed in it is. Let's drag in our scope overlay. Let's disable it by default. Go to our sniper, drag in our scope manager, and make sure it is a scoped weapon. Okay, let's test. Nice, we can zoom in. Now, you can actually see part of the gun while scoping, which is a bit weird. So we want to disable our gun. Now, we can't just disable the entire weapon object. And the reason for that is because our weapon script is on it. So if we disable the weapon object, this script will no longer run, and we don't want that. So what we can do is disable these two skinned mesh renderers or scopes. So let's add a public skinned mesh renderer array called mesh renderers, and we will create a new method called set mesh. We'll do set scope state. So we'll do a public void. Oh no, private void. Set scope state. bool is scoped. And we will move all this into here. So scope manager dot set scope state is scoped. And then we'll do for each var skin mesh render in mesh renderers for each. So for each var renderer in mesh renderers, we'll set renderer dot enabled equal to not is scoped. And we'll replace this with just this set scope state. And same in the start method. Save this. And let's drag in our two renderers into here. And let's make sure we have the scope manager dragged in for the shotgun and the AK as well. And make sure they're not scoped weapons. Another thing is that you can still see your crosshair while you're scoped. So maybe we don't want that since the scope already has a crosshair, sort of. So what we will do is in our scope manager, we will get a reference to our crosshair so we can set it to be disabled while scoped. So add a public game object called crosshair. And in here, when we set scope state, we'll set crosshair dot set active not is scoped. Then we'll drag in our crosshair, so give it a sec. Canvas, crosshair, drag it into here. All right, so this actually looks awesome. Now we need some way of switching between weapons. Oh, one more thing, in most games, when you're unscoped, your shot isn't accurate, so your shot is only accurate when scoped. So let's actually make a new thing called public float spread while scoped. Go 0f. We'll make a private bool is scoped equal to false. And we'll set this is scoped in scope state. So we'll set is scoped equal to is scoped. And in our shooting, scan shoot, right here, we are using a spread. Let's make a float spread to use equals is scoped question mark. If we are scoped, we'll use the scoped spread while scoped. And if we're not scoped, we'll just use the regular spread. And instead of using the regular spread in both cases here, we'll just use the spread to use. Very nice. And let's set up the spread while scoping. So we will go to our player and we'll set the regular spread to something like 0.15 and the spread while scoped to 0. Cool. Now we'll make some weapon switching. So under your sway holder, create a new empty game object and we'll call this weapon switcher. Reset its position and drag all your weapons under here. Let's make the AK first, then the shotgun second, and sniper third. Let's add a new script called weapon switcher. Next video we'll add a leaderboard, and then the video after that we'll add third-person weapons, and we'll make a proper character. So in your weapon switcher, make a private int called selected weapon. All right. And make a private void called select weapon. And we'll go for I in transform.child count. We'll do transform.getChild i.gameObject.setActive is equal to selected weapon. So what this does is it loops through each child object of this weapon switcher. And if the index of this object is equal to the index of the weapon we select, we set it active to true. Otherwise, this is false, so we disable it. Now let's work on setting the selected weapon. So we'll do if input dot get key down key code dot alpha1. So this is the 1 key at the top of your keyboard. We'll set selected weapon equal to 0. And let's just do this for however many weapons we have. Alpha 2, Alpha 3, Alpha 4, Alpha 5, Alpha 6. I doubt we'll have more weapons. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now if we press Alpha 6, for example, we don't have 6 weapons yet. We don't have 6 weapons yet, so this will create an error. So in this select weapon method, let's do selected weapon equals to mathf dot clamp selected weapon, and we'll clamp it to between 0 and transform dot child count -1. Right, so if we have only one child object, we'll clamp it to between 0 and 0, so it's index 0, since this is 0 indexed. And at the end of here, we'll select weapon. Very simple. Now let's also add the ability to select weapons via scroll wheel. So we'll do if input dot get axis mouse scroll wheel. Make sure it's capital S, capital W, typed exactly like this. And if this is greater than 0, so we're scrolling up, first we'll check if selected weapon is greater or equal to transform dot child count -1. We'll set selected weapon to 0, so we'll loop back around to the first weapon after the last weapon. Otherwise, selected weapon plus equals 1. Now let's do basically the opposite. So if this is less than 0, if selected weapon is smaller or equal to 0, we'll loop it around the other way. So selected weapon equals transform dot child count -1, and otherwise, well, minus equals 1. See, we can switch with the number keys and with the scroll wheel. Now, if you scroll, it's a bit fast, so let's add a cooldown. So we'll add public float, oh, add a private float time until allow select next weapon, and we'll set time until allow select next weapon equals math f dot max 0, or time until allow select next weapon minus time dot delta time. So whichever is greater, 0 or this, just to prevent negatives. And whenever we do this, we'll set time until allow select next weapon equals 0.1f. So there's a 0.1 second cooldown. And in here, we'll check and end time until allow select next weapon is less than or equal to 0. And we'll do that in both places and save this. Nice. So now there's a delay. Oh, this is so cool. We did a great job so far. So the next thing we'll do is, there's a bug. If you switch guns, mid reload, it'll always get stuck. Let's fix one thing real quick, which is that select all of these weapons and uncheck play automatically. But yeah, if you switch guns mid reload, it'll get stuck mid reload, and we don't want that. So create a public animation clip, start clip, right? And on start, we'll play the start clip. So we'll do animation anim dot clip equals start clip, anim dot stop, anim dot play, add a semicolon, and let's define a start clip for each weapon. So for the AK, we have an idle clip, which we'll use as the start clip. For the shotgun, we have a wheeled clip, which we'll use as the start clip. So I think that's the right one. Yeah, that'll do. And for the sniper, we also have an idle clip, which we will use as the start clip. This is truly awesome. Like, genuinely, progress in just a couple of hours. In the next video, we will be adding a leaderboard so you can get competitive, and we'll also add a KD counter, a scoring system, all that good stuff. So I hope you're excited. I'm very excited. See you in the next one. Bye.